Hello students, welcome back to your computer science class. We are continuing with our revision of chapter 1 and simultaneously we will practice some programs in Python. Today we will talk about computer memory. Any physical device that is capable of storing information, whether temporary or permanent, is called computer memory. We know the units of computer memory from KB to PB. We've spoken about this. And then we know how the digital data is measured. There are three types of memory in a computer: primary memory, cache memory, and secondary memory. Primary is the inbuilt memory in the computer system. It is loaded before processing, and there are two types, that is RAM and ROM. In RAM, the full form is random access memory. It is a volatile memory. That means that as long as the computer is on, the data will remain on the RAM disk. As soon as we switch it off, it's going to be erased. So it is called volatile. It's called volatile or temporary memory. RAM is also referred to as main memory, as it is faster than the secondary memory. Okay, and whenever the computer starts, software applications are launched in RAM for processing. Then comes ROM, which is a non-volatile, meaning it's a permanent memory, and the content in ROM is not deleted even after the power is switched off. Okay, it is used as small but a faster permanent storage for contents which are ready, which are very rarely changed, like the operating system files. All these files are saved in the ROM. Okay. Then comes cache. RAM is faster than secondary storage, but it is not as fast as a computer processor. So because of RAM, a CPU may have to slow down. So to speed up the CPU operations, there is a very high speed memory placed between CPU and the primary memory, and this is known as cache. This cache basically stores the copies of data from frequently accessed primary memory locations and reduces the average time required to access data from such locations. When CPU needs some data, it will first go and find in the cache. In case the requirement is met, it will take it out from cache. Otherwise, it will go to primary memory. So although RAM is faster than the secondary storage, it is still not as fast as a computer processor. Secondary memory is all the data where the data is permanently stored. Primary memory has limited storage. So if you look at RAM or ROM, even RAM is like 4 GB or 8 GB, that is limited storage. So for more storage, we need to use secondary memory, that is the hard disk drive. Okay, secondary memory can also be external. So we have external hard disk drives. Okay, and we have CD, DVD, all these become a part of secondary memory. Secondary memory is again non-volatile. That means it is permanent and it has a larger storage capacity than primary memory, and it can also be changed. We can modify it. How is the data transferred between the memory and CPU? By using bus. Data is transferred between two components of a computer system using physical wires called bus. The questions can come: what is a bus? Bus is of three types. There's a data bus, an address bus, and a control bus. Data bus will transfer data between different components. Address bus transfers addresses between CPU and main memory. And control bus communicates control signals between the different components of a computer. All these three buses collectively make a system bus. All three together make a system bus. If you now look at the data bus is bidirectional. What are microprocessors? They are small sized electronic components which are inside a computer. They carry out the tasks. They are built over an integrated circuit that comprise of many small components like resistors, transistors, diodes, etc. Microprocessors have evolved over the years, and now you can see we all know the size has decreased, the prices have come down. So currently, the microprocessors that are available, they can process millions and millions of instructions per millisecond. These are different processors over the years from 1971 till date. Again, you can see the difference in the generations here. Microprocessors are classified on the basis of different features, which include chip type, word size, memory size, clock speed. So how do you select a microprocessor when you all are selecting a new computer? You will always be looking at the microprocessor because you all know that's the most important component of a computer system. So you look at word size. Word size is the maximum number of bits a microprocessor can process at one point of time. Earlier, one word was of 8 bits and it was the maximum limit. But nowadays, we have up till 64 bits. Then memory size, again, this is the RAM. RAM used to be very small first. Okay, it used to have only 4 to 8 bits words. So that time it used to be 4 MB. But now that the word size has increased to 64 bits, we have RAM up to 16 exabytes. Then you look at the clock speed, you look at the cores. So all computers, they have an internal clock that generate pulses or signals at regular intervals of time. That's how they keep a track of time on their own. So clock speed simply refers to the number of the pulses generated per second by the clock inside the computer. Now this clock speed, it will indicate the speed at which the computer can execute instructions. Earlier, this was measured in hertz and and kilohertz, but nowadays we measure it in gigahertz. Okay. Then cores. Cores is like the basic computation unit of CPU. Earlier, processors had only one computation unit. So, so that time, our computers, they were capable of only performing one task at a given point of time. With the advent of multi-core processor, it has become possible for computers to execute multiple tasks, thereby increasing the system's performance. CPU with 2, 4, 8 cores are called dual core, quad core, and octa-core processors. That means that many more processes they can handle at a given point of time. Then microcontrollers. Microcontrollers are again small devices, but in this device, why is it different than microprocessors? Because this device also supports input and output devices in this chip. So in this chip, there is RAM, ROM, CPU, clock, system bus, input, output, everything in this small little chip, all on one chip, and that's called a microcontroller. These chips are nowadays found in keyboard, remote controls, washing machine, TVs, uh, cameras, your, pen drives, mouse, then microwaves, etc. All these nowadays, they come with a microcontroller. What is the difference between data and information? Data is basically the raw and unorganized facts that a computer receives. Okay, and when this data is processed, it becomes instruction. Now there can be many types of data. You can have alphanumeric data, you can have numeric data. Data can also be divided into 3 types, that is structured, unstructured, and semi-structured. Structured data is the ones that have a strict record system. Okay, and it is normally in a tabular format. Unstructured is, where it is not organized in a predefined method. Okay, it can include audio and video files, graphic, documents, social media posts, satellites, etc. Okay, so these kind of data will consist both textual content as well as graphic content. And semi-structured data is the one in which there is no well defined or a strict structure that is maintained. Okay, but there is something called as tags. So tag is normally preceded it prefixes all the data. So possibly you can have name, month, class, attendance, and the other one can be attendance, class, name, month. But the word, the label, month, name, class is always specified. So examples of semi-structured data are the HTML pages or the CSV pages. Okay. Now I'm going to stop here. We are going to do this in next class. I want to show you all the program for today. Okay, you all have done this. Calculate the area of triangle. I had told you all about it. In case you all have not, you all can do it now. Write it down in a notebook and then practice it. You will take the base and height from the user, and then you will use the formula breadth base into height divide by 2. In the print statement, format option is being used, but you don't need to use that. You can do it in your way. You can change the print statement over here. This is generating a random number. This also you can practice. This is the program you're going to do today, in which, pay attention, we are going to be using a library, math library. And the function that we will use from the math library is you're going to take 3 coefficients inputs from the user. Then you're going to calculate the discriminant. Then you will find 2 solutions. And then you will print the final result. This is using the format function. You can use the format function or something else. So I'm just going to pause over here for 2 minutes each, for 30 seconds each, for you all to write it down. Okay. B square minus 4AC. This is square root. And then these are the 2 solutions. So I'm just waiting here for 2 minutes. I hope you all have written it down. You all can pause the screen wherever required, write it down, and then practice it. I want you all to send me on my personal WhatsApp, send me the practices so that I know you all are keeping up. Okay, so with this, I end today's class. Stay home, stay safe, take care, and keep learning. Thank you.